Hello, everyone. I'm speaking today with a special guest from Israel, Uriel Goldberg, who's part of the wonderful organisation MDA, Magen David Adom, which is Israel's major emergency response organisation. Whether it be a small crisis or a big one, they're usually on the spot within a few minutes. So, Uriel, there's obviously been a very major disaster in Israel that we've heard about on B'Omer Meron. For those who might not be informed, can you give a quick overview as to what happened?
So on B'Omer Meron, which was a Thursday night last week, where lots of people go to B'Omer Meron to celebrate, and this was actually the largest and the first big celebration since COVID, so probably about a year and a bit, where people were able to gather in large numbers. A tragedy occurred, and there was an incident there on the mountain. At the beginning, we received information from our teams who were on the ground of either a building which had collapsed or bleachers which had collapsed. But eventually, we were able, after a few minutes, we were able to realize that it was a stampede, and people who were crammed into a small area were trying to get out, and unfortunately weren't able to, which caused this stampede, and for people to unfortunately be injured and killed.
So what are the current numbers? I mean, we heard something 44, 45 dead and somewhere between 150 and 200 injured. Is that correct?
So the numbers were 112 who were injured and who were evacuated to hospitals, and a total of 44 or 45 who were killed. Okay.
Now, you say there was a stampede. Obviously, there'll be an inquiry as to what went wrong, what the issues. You got called into the major control room of MDA. So what did MDA do when you started to realise there was a major disaster on your hands?
So MDA was actually involved from before the incident. As we are every year, we were on the mountain with reinforcements, with volunteers, with EMTs, paramedics, ambulances, special vehicles. We set up a clinic on the site as well. This is all beforehand because we knew there were going to be a lot of people there, and there was a chance things would go wrong, but also for regular medical emergencies, someone who doesn't feel well, if someone would have fallen, etc. So we're there with large numbers. We also have in place protocols for mass casualties. If the mass casualty is in Meron, or if it's in another area, and we're always prepared. As soon as we received the report, we activated the mass casualty protocol. Our teams who were on the site already started treating within a matter of seconds. Our teams who were at home or in other stations started reporting to stations, taking ambulances. And the way we work is that each region starts sending ambulances to one region closer to the incident. So we always have enough ambulances on shift. We can respond both to the emergency and to the what we call shigra, the day-to-day emergencies which are going on. Just because there's an incident in Meron doesn't mean that people are going to stop giving birth, having heart attacks, sure, not feeling well, and we have to provide a response to that as well. We can't let someone stay at home. We can't let someone die at home because there's another incident somewhere else in the country. Once we then activate the mass casualty, blood services get involved as well, because it's a unique point where MDA is Israel's national ambulance service and blood services. That means as soon as we declare a mass casualty, our blood services know. As soon as we know how many people are injured, they know how many units of blood are needed and to what hospitals the injured are going. It means we can really start providing blood proactively to the hospitals to make sure that none of them run out, and to make sure that they will all have enough in order to treat those who come in because of the incidents.
Now, Meron, I've been to Meron, not during B'Omer Meron. It's up the north of Israel, not far from Sfat. It's a beautiful hilly area, but the roads are, are narrow and windy. Was there a problem with access?
So as I mentioned, Magen David Adom was prepared for any situation. We have special vehicles, we have mules, we have 4x4s, we have ATVs, jeeps, bicycles. a wide variety of vehicles which can reach almost any area. And we have them spread out strategically across the mountain so that we can have, for example, a mule or an ATV all the way inside and an ambulance waiting just outside. So, so the mule can bring a patient to the ambulance and the ambulance will evacuate the hospital. So it is a challenge. It makes it more difficult, especially with a number of people there. But we do manage to evacuate from there. There's nowhere where we don't have access to.
How big was the crowd? We've heard numbers anywhere from 30,000 to over 100,000. Do you have any idea how many people were there?
We don't have the exact number. The estimate which we had was also around 100,000.
Right. Okay. Well, it's a terrible tragedy. Lag B'Omer is supposed to be a happy festival, but clearly each year we will always have now this cloud over Lag B'Omer. We should congratulate MDA on its work. It may well be without the emergency services there on site and reinforced so quickly. Who knows? It could have been even worse.
I'm sure it would have been if we wouldn't have been there with the vehicles and the equipment which we had. And this also the point to say thank you to all of our friends CITES and to Magen David Adom Australia, and Glennis is with us on the call. Most of our equipment and our ambulances are donated by generous donors around the world, and without that equipment, without those vehicles, and without our preparation there, I'm sure it would have been a bigger tragedy and less people would have been brought in a relatively good condition to hospital.
Okay. I know one of the things that Australia has raised funds for are those emergency motorbikes, the paramedic motorbikes. So I will insert into the video a picture of one of those so that people can see what we're talking about. And next time MDA has an event here, they'll understand not only what it is we're supporting, but the sort of emergency that the equipment is used for.
Magen David Adom Australia has actually donated a few motorcycles and some ambulances as well. And recently a Wish ambulance, which was a very impressive project. The Wish ambulance is starting its work in Israel in these coming days. And it's a little bit on the happier side than some of the emergency vehicles. But right now they're working on a brand new bloodmobile caravan, which is also important and also relates to the incident which occurred, because on Friday morning, once all the patients, all the injured were already in hospital, we realized there's going to be an urgent need for blood. And we started setting up emergency blood drives across the country, where we had on a Friday morning, 2,200 people who came to donate blood, which is a huge amount. It was very heartwarming to see. And the caravan which Magen David Australia is raising funds for is one of those which can be taken anywhere. It can be set up in any village, town, the middle of the forest, wherever it is, and can enable us to reach more people to donate blood, and especially for after emergencies and disasters like this.
Okay, well, Uriel, thank you very much for that summary. We hope that all the injured recover and pray for those who have departed and their families, and that Israel will no doubt review its systems so that next Lag B'Omer things will be done differently, and whatever errors were made this time won't be repeated in the future.
I hope so.
Okay.
Thank you.
And thank you very much.